Have you ever looked in the sky and wondered what's out there? Or felt something like deep in your gut that you just couldn't explain, but you knew it was real? This episode is for you if you are curious, a little bit skeptical, but still open to the idea that maybe, just maybe, there's more to this life than you have been taught to believe. Welcome to Jyotindi, Journey to the Inner Divine, a sacred space for healing energy, emotional release, and soulful transformation. If you're ready to live with joy, ease, and purpose, you're in the right place. Hello, hello, all you beautiful people. Welcome back to Jyotindi. It's a magical place where you can learn to love yourself and your life and trust in your connection to the infinite wisdom. Today, on our journey to the inner divine, we are going to talk about possibilities and how you can learn to lean into the unknown and embrace it with excitement rather than let it fill you with anxiety. Now, before we really dive into this, I just want to put out a little disclaimer. If you hear some peeping in the background, it's because I just got some baby chicks and they are currently living in my room. So that's where that background noise is coming from. So apologize in advance if you hear anything. So first up, I want to rewind and go way back in time and talk about the ancient peoples and how they viewed life. So as we know, life is full of mysteries, and ancient cultures really sensed these things. They acknowledged the things that they couldn't explain, and they did, like any human, grasp for an explanation. But when their tools and their technology fell short, they called it the gods or spirits. Almost every ancient culture had a bunch of gods, many gods, one for the sun, one for the moon, and the wind and the waters. And anywhere where there was an observable but unexplainable phenomenon, they attributed to a spirit because they didn't have the tools to measure the how or the why, but they still honored these unseen forces. And as we fast forward in time, culture progressed and scientific methods started advancing. And we began to be able to explain everything that used to feel like magic. We could tell the weather patterns. We could predict when they were going to come. We were able to explain things like disease and stars and the tides. And we started using empirical evidence to prove what was happening wasn't magic. Because for whatever reason, we decided to make this big shift away from the magic and towards evidence-based facts. And as we began to prove more and more things, the idea of the unexplainable fell away, and it transformed into the idea that everything is explainable. We just haven't done it yet. And that might be true still. We are seeing it every day. New advances in technology, new studies coming out, new explanations showing up, and it's very exciting. But the problem lies in that people have begun to believe in only what they can prove, and they dismissed everything else. So now the tides are shifting again, and modern science is kind of circling back. What a lot of people believe is woo-woo, or they brush it off as fake or silly or dumb, science is starting to prove that it actually might be true. And one of my favorite examples of this is your aura. For eons, people have written about this unseen field of energy that surrounds and permeates the human body. And some people can even see it. And other people who can't see it think those people are crazy. They think there's no halo of color surrounding my body. Obviously, I'm looking at this person right now. I see the skin, I see the air next to them, or not, can't see the air next to them, actually. And so they think, well, that's that. But now, scientists have finally developed a way to measure this electromagnetic field that surrounds humans, and they have decided to rename it because, of course, like any good thing, modern science needs to change it and make it their own. So they have started calling it the biofield. And this biofield is made up of electromagnetic fields, thermal energy, and photons. So when I say things like, let your inner light shine, it's an actual thing that you can do. You can increase your energetic field that surrounds your body, increase the number of photons you're emitting, and actually emit light. It is so cool. Anyway, this energy field that surrounds people is basically made up of life force energy. Eastern medicine calls it chi, the Ayurvedic practice calls it prana. And with this new process called Kirlian photography, we can finally see it. We can see how our biofield changes when you're injured or when you're in different emotional states. They can see it in fruits and vegetables that are organic versus non organic. And I posted an interesting picture of that on my Instagram if you want to see it and see what this biofield actually looks like. And now they're exploring how disruptions in our biofield can affect us and actually impact your health. Now, quantum physics tells us that particles behave in non-intuitive, almost magical ways, at least if you are basing that off of the conventional Newtonian physics that we all kind of live by, then it seems pretty magical. Anyway, it shows that particles can have an effect on each other even when they're separated by huge distances, right? Implying that the space and time as we know it might not actually be the way that we think or might not be how we currently perceive it. So if you haven't yet, go back and listen to my episode about quantum healing. It's a little bit interesting if you ask me, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. I make things very simple and easy to understand. So if we combine these ideas about quantum physics and the biofield, we can infer that when our biofields come into contact with other people, we get to leave a lasting impression. And we can also be affected by other people's energy as well. This is why sayings like, your vibe attracts your tribe, and show me who your friends are, and I'll show you who you are really very poignant. I personally can attest that when you surround yourself with different people, you begin to change. And that's why I've created this online community for like-minded women to share and be seen and support one another. And I will tell you about that more at a later time. Anyway, these scientific advances are happening so much that what we used to consider woo is now being backed by science. But we've been disconnected from it because we've been trained not to believe. We've been conditioned by society to reject the things that we cannot already prove. So any type of like new research that's coming out is really highly questioned. And I do think that it's good to question things, don't get me wrong. But I do also see a lot of value in following your intuition and allowing yourself to believe in the things that you experience, the things that you can feel. Like when I walk into a room with somebody who has bad energy, I can feel it. It's just like when you get around somebody who's like the life of the party or someone who has that reputation, you know that they're going to be a good time when you hang out because that's who they are. It's their energy. They carry this high vibration, good time energy, and it's magnetic and you want to be around it. That's because the energy that they're giving off interacts with your energetic biofield and it can help actually improve your state of mind. And I've seen this meme going around, and it's basically saying, how come people can believe in Wi-Fi, but they can't believe in energy healing? And it really makes a lot of sense because it is this invisible thing. You can't really see it. You can't really feel it. You definitely benefit from it. And you can tell when it's broken because you can't get on the internet. But for some reason, people can believe in that and they can't believe in your aura or your biofield or the idea that surrounding yourself with certain types of people can have an effect on you or that certain sounds or practices can help heal your body. Now, there is a lot of good research that's coming out about how healing your energy and your mindset has a profound impact on your body's ability to heal and to function. Even just like a quick scan of the National Institute of Health website, where they publish all the scientific research, will show topics like effects of singing bowl sound meditation on mood, tension, and well-being, and clinical EFT or emotional freedom techniques improves multiple physiological markers of health. And that's like pretty amazing. And don't get me wrong, it's still going to take some time before we have a thorough understanding of these from a scientific perspective. But you can, in this meantime, begin your own personal healing journey now by trusting your intuition and getting in touch with what works for you. Because what works for you is not necessarily going to be what works for Joe Blow down the street. Healing is a highly personal journey because your story is highly personal. Your experiences are highly personal. Your trauma, your memories, everything that has happened to you in your life that has led you to where you are right now is completely unique. So it makes sense that your healing journey would be completely unique as well. And it's okay for you to spend some time figuring out what things are going to work for you and what things might not be your jam. And either way, that's totally fine. So I would like to extend an invitation to you, kind of based off of everything we've talked about today. And that is just stay curious, stay open. You don't have to fully understand something to begin exploring it. We can begin to attune to it and believe it in our feelings. We can believe our nudges and our intuition to guide us along this journey. Belief doesn't also mean blind faith. It can simply mean openness to possibility. And that's all I'm really asking you to do while you listen to my podcast is to remain open and believe in possibility. Intuition, divine timing, universal connection, these are all ancient truths that we're only just now starting to explain. And I created this podcast to introduce you to those ideas. I'm sharing these ideas and these tools and these techniques to help you explore how your own energy affects your life and how you can begin to shift it. Even if you're super skeptical, you don't have to believe everything that I say, obviously. The only thing I'm asking you to do is to remain open and remain curious. Because when you do that, that's when the magic begins. Now, I do want to share this little parable that I heard. And just a fair disclaimer, I think that it's kind of about religion, but the way that I view it is more about just staying open to the idea of possibilities. So anyway, it goes like this. In a mother's womb, there were two babies. And as the weeks passed and the twins developed, their awareness grew. The first baby asked the other, "Do you believe in life after delivery?" The second baby replied, "Why, of course. There has to be something after delivery. Maybe we're here to prepare ourselves for what comes later." "Nonsense," said the first. "There is no life after delivery. What would that life even be?" "I don't know, but there has to be more light than here. Maybe we'll walk with our legs and eat from our mouths." The doubting baby laughed. "This is absurd. Walking is impossible. And eat with our mouths? Ridiculous. The umbilical cord supplies our nutrition." The second baby held his ground. "Well, I think there is something, and maybe it's different than what is here." The first baby replied, "No one has ever come back from there. Delivery is the end of life, and in the after delivery, there is nothing." "Well, I don't know," said the twin, "but certainly we'll see Mother, and she will take care of us." "Mother?" the first baby said. "You believe in Mother? Well, where is she now?" The second baby tried to explain. "She's all around us. It's in her that we live, and without her, there wouldn't be this world. Sometimes when you're in silence, you can hear her, you can feel her." And as the weeks stretched into months, the twins noticed how much each one was changing. "What do you think this all means?" asked the first baby. "It means that our stay in this world is drawing to an end," said the second. "I don't want to go," said the first. "I want to stay here always." "We have no choice," said the second. "But maybe there is life after birth." "How can it be?" responded the first one. "We shed our life cord. How is life possible without it? Besides, we've seen evidence that others were here before us, and none of them have returned to tell us that there is life after birth." And so the one fell into deep despair, saying, "If conception ends with birth, what is the purpose of life in the womb? It's meaningless. Maybe there is no mother at all." "But there has to be," protested the second baby. "How else did we get here? How do we remain alive?" "Have you ever seen our mother?" said the one. "Maybe she lives in our minds. Maybe we just made her up because the idea makes us feel good." Thus, while one raved and despaired, the other resigned himself to birth. He placed his trust in the mother. Hours passed into days, and days fell into weeks, and it came time. And both knew that their birth was at hand, and both feared what they did not know. And as one was the first to be conceived, so he was the first to be born. The other followed after. and they cried as they were borne out into the light. They coughed up fluid, and they gasped the dry air. And when they were sure that they had been born, they opened up their eyes and they found themselves cradled in the warm love of the mother. They lay open-mouthed, awestruck at the beauty of the mother whom they'd never seen before. This type of story always makes me a little bit emotional because it's just such a powerful reminder that I have no idea what comes after this life. And there are people out there who dive deep into religion and they feel very certain of what's after this life, but I am not. I believe in the here and the now. Because I have no idea what comes next, I want to make the most of this life. And what a beautiful sentiment that is. It's the reason that I sign off each episode saying that there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. Because what I mean when I say that is that we have no idea what is coming next. So if we can make the most of each present moment, we will surely have the best life possible, regardless of what comes next. And finding happiness along your path is the way to enlightenment, not waiting until XYZ happens so you can then become happy. So thank you so much for listening. I created a freebie to go along with this episode. It's called The Beginner's Guide to Energy Healing, 5 Simple Practices to Open Your Mind and Your Energy. And this will give you a little introduction to the ways that you can remain open and begin to feel the profound effects that healing your energy and your auric biofield can have on you. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, trust the unfolding, and trust that the universe has something beautiful waiting for you. Because there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. Catch you next time.